All right, what's up, everybody? It is time for the Friday Mastermind. Every Friday, 9 o'clock, we're bringing in incredible leaders. Sometimes it is loan officers. I try to make it Tuesday at 9 o'clock is a top producer, loan officer, uh, podcast, interview, sales meeting, and then every Friday is a mastermind. And today we have Eric Post. We'll bring him into the conversation in a minute. We do not have Todd Bookspan today. So Deborah Byrd is going to play the role of Todd, Win by Noon, and the role of Deborah Byrd. What's up, D? Byrd?
Split personality, just the way I like it. Which one will I be at the moment? Hello, everyone. Happy New Year. Hopefully, everyone's New Year goals that they set out on the first are still aggressively in pursuit, and no one has fallen into the National Quit Day. And welcome. Thanks for being on.
Yeah. Before we bring on Eric, that is just a good reminder, folks, that whatever goals you documented, like this is a perfect time, and this weekend is a perfect weekend to really look at those goals, assess those goals, be realistic. Are they realistic? Do they need to be adjusted? Like really break down the plan to do it. Because if you don't do it now, you probably just forget about it, and you probably won't even get close to it. So it's a good time to reassess and adjust. Don't feel bad about adjusting. Like if you have to make it realistic, that's not a failure. That's great leadership. All right. So I've had Eric Post on this channel multiple times. I think this is the third or fourth. He is an AI expert. So I mean, he is one of the when AI first came and I saw ChatGPT, and I was just like, holy shit. Like Eric was truly one of the first people that I noticed on social media that was just going all in. Like he literally saw what was happening. He was like, oh, I'm not just going to use it to be a better, more effective entrepreneur and expert. I'm going to go all in and be an AI entrepreneur. So I'm pretty confident if Eric and I were going to have the conversation with Deborah that we're going to have right now 6 months ago, it'd be very different because things are moving fast. So Eric, welcome back to the show.
Morning.
How you doing, brother?
Morning. I'm honored, man. I love the way you guys are so freaking consistent about your mission, about doing these things. It's refreshing. It's honored to I'm honored to be part of this conversation. So again, good morning and thanks for having me.
Yeah. So what is some of the newest, most important things? And let's focus on loan officers. Well, I can
Yep.
already see we've got at least one VP of marketing. We will have some C-suite that watch this. We will have some producing managers, but let's just focus on LOs. Like I'm a loan officer. And hopefully they're becoming AI powered mortgage advisors. Like that's what we teach and preach here. But what's new? Like let's just start with some of the new stuff.
Yeah, technology aside, I'm sure we'll get into that too, but technology aside, one of the just trends that's glaringly obvious is we have a standard sort of bell curve when you look at an adoption curve of any sort of thing. And I think it's important that we see as an industry and as we look at our consumers, we're getting a little bit deeper into that adoption curve. And so the type of people that are now starting to like use AI as a home borrower, right, or in the home buying process has changed and grown. The way they're using it has changed and grown. Their sentiment towards AI use, in the business or on social media has been exposed, and we have more data now how they feel about it. So a lot of the sort of use cases that originally like were rushed towards and started being deployed, we should like review, hey, how are we doing compared to our consumer sentiment, right? And also those sorts of things. So I think that's changed a little bit too. We should probably talk about that a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I know you've got some data on customer sentiment around AI, some stats and facts. You wanna share some of that right now?
Yeah, like one of the things, that's really obvious because the consumers are like more overwhelmed with more information data. There's really an information like obesity epidemic happening, right? And so one of the latest stats I saw is that 30% of consumers, I want this like really sink in, 30% of consumers are actually less likely to choose a brand after identifying AI generated outreach of sorts.
Mm.
Right? AI generated emails, AI generated DMs, AI generated posts, just post after post after post. So they could tell it's ChatGPT and you're just prompting and pasting and delegated your thought leadership to a chatbot. Like a growing number of people are saying that's not a professional or a service or brand I trust now to bring me their own independent expertise. That's a big one.
Why do you
So, and
think
by
that
the way,
is, Eric?
My initial gut feeling, I mean, there's some, you can look up the stat. Dave, I can
Mm,
cite the sources later. You guys can post them if you want. But one of the things I think that, especially if they're using AI themselves, they're like, I could have done that.
mm,
I could just ask ChatGPT that question. There's
mhm,
no value in that if they can see they didn't put your actual human wisdom and expertise and humanity into the effort, right? And so I think that personally, that's what I've seen for sure.
mm.
yeah, and I would love folks in chat to weigh in on that. One, do you believe that? Is that a stat? Like you hear it, you're like, I believe
Yeah,
that.
that's a good question. Yeah.
Or by the way, if you're like, I don't buy it. Like, I want to know that. Like, who agrees and believes it? I definitely know and believe that there is a suppression of once, someone is using AI, it's going to move up in the noise category. I know I've just been thinking about how I perceive it, and there's some people that I really trust and respect, and I like their content a lot. But then I've seen an AI video, and I'm like I'm not watching it. Like it is hitting. It may not be noise, but it comes across like that's noise. That's noise. Now, I personally don't feel like, okay, I'm less likely to do business with that person or trust that person, but I'm an innovator, so I'm almost like not,
Good for you. Yeah, yeah. You're almost like root them on, like push the boundaries a little
yeah,
bit.
and I'm kind of
Yeah.
like, oh, I got to keep an eye on these guys. Like it doesn't
Yeah.
hurt my brand impression of them, but so far everyone says they agree with that.
I see one, and he's got a good point. He said they could do research on their own, but they don't. So let's actually frame that in context. One of the things I think is important when we look at stats like this, who is it? Is it like Benjamin Franklin that says if you want to lie, use stats or numbers, right?
Yeah,
Like so,
right.
let's
Yeah,
frame it. I'm not sure if that's the right application of the quote, but somebody like that said it. It's a really smart guy, smarter than me. Anyway, so framing it is different. Like if you say it, if I receive, like let's say I'm receiving an update, about our transaction, and it's an AI avatar or it's a personal generated thing, that's different than if I'm just seeing you on social media or it's a cold outreach, right? Or a cold DM. So I want to reframe it. Like if I have a relationship with you and it's kind of part of the relationship is this extra service, and you're not trying to trick me into thinking it's the real you or something like that, that's different than somebody trying to get establish a brand feeling with you on social or on outreach or through marketing, and they can tell it's just AI. Those are two different things, just to be really, really clear about the application of it and how the consumers feel about it. Okay.
yeah. And then also, I think it's really important, and to me, the takeaway of that is just really look at the data, because I do have clients that are experimenting with AI voice, and so they're taking some of our data signals and they're using an AI voice to call, and it's working. Like they're getting leads, they're getting opportunities that they would have not otherwise had. And so we're seeing that. But what is the cost of that? We don't know yet. I mean, from a testing perspective, if someone has some like you're on this, and you have some experience around this and some data, feel free to share that in chat, and we would love to talk about it. Anything else? Any other stats or facts that you
Yeah,
think?
I got quite a, so supplementing that just a little bit, sort of like the negative sentiments kind of idea. There's also a demand for transparency. Uh-oh, did we lose Dave? There we go. He came back.
Relax, relax, bro.
So the latest, I didn't know if AI took over and like
Yeah,
took
no, I
the,
may turn it off again because I'm gonna go get myself some water while you're talking. You don't have to tell the whole audience that I stepped away.
This is just to prove you're not an AI avatar of yourself.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
There we
yeah.
go.
Like
Demand
so
for
there's
transparency.
wait, where did Dave go? No, okay. So there's also this demand for transparency. So one of the stats is important is 67% of people are believing that AI generated advertising content should be clearly labeled. Right. So part of it is just a distrust as we feel it's like anxiety where the lines between reality and not reality are really, really blurred. They're kind of really craving at least the authenticity of like saying what's real or what's not, like just not pretending that something isn't your actual voice if it is. Like you could say, hey, my AI is going to reach out to you and it's going to give you some updates, and that's going to be an acceptable use of AI, not just like, oh, I'll trick them into thinking it's just really me, it's not really me, and I've leveraged me and look at how good I am. That's not what they want, right?
Mm,
So that's the difference there. 54% have a negative sentiment when content is perceived as automated or low effort. I want to make that be the key thing.
mm,
Low effort. Okay. So if they could just tell it's just like prompt and paste and send, that's perceived as low effort. So it's not necessarily just coming from AI. They're like, well, dude, like, come on, like you didn't even give me a little bit of you in there. I can tell it's not even you in there. So that's a big thing for us to realize. And frankly, as we get in that adoption curve for consumers, more and more and more of our consumers are using it, so they know, right? They're being elevated along with us. In fact, a lot of them are past our AI fluency in this industry in some way. And
Hmm.
so we have this kind of imbalance now, and we have to be really, really like aware of where our consumers' AI fluency is and what they expect out of us. Because it's a big world out there, and they're interacting with Apple and Samsung and Google and all these other brands, right, in a certain way. And we're not being compared to just other LOs or just the mortgage industry. We're being compared to all of the industries that they're interacting with. And that's really important for us to understand.
So, and Deb, feel free to add your 2 cents on this. But what goes through my mind when you said that is that consumers are becoming AI powered consumers. And
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
when you and I, we talked about this the other day when we were masterminding together. But whatever percentage, and by the way, audience, if you're listening to this right now, what percent of consumers do you think are using public AI, chat, Gemini, Perplexity, you put a name on it, Whoosy, that they're using it to help them, whether they're buying a home or refinancing a home, they're using it offline. Um, I've asked this to a lot of folks, and most people will say 30-ish% right now. That seems to be the common answer. People think 60-ish. So far, we got a 50, we got a 46. But when I ask people, what percent do you think will be using it by the end of this year? And I'm hearing 90%. Like most people believe it's, looks like on this call, 50% is what this call, the audience on this call. But at the end of the year, so like we are moving into an era of an AI powered consumer. And if you want to get ahead of that, and let's make that kind of the topic or the headline, Eric,
Yeah.
what does that mean? Deborah, anything you want to add to that before we hear from Eric?
No, go ahead and answer that one, and then I'll save my question. I'll bank it.
Bank it, baby.
Yeah.
Okay. So some statistics again around this are, and I see these are great guesses in here. Um, but right now, 43% of AI users are interacting with some sort of AI chat search. 58% of professionals are starting their research with AI instead of standard search engines. Market predicts between 40 and 60% of all search queries are going to be through AI interfaces by the end of this year. Um, I want to like really clearly have people understand this that 93% of AI mode searches, so if I just go to chat and search or just go to Gemini and search, 93% of those do not result in a click through to any website at all.
Mm.
And if they are going to Google or if they are going to some, another interface where it's chat, it's a combination of like 10 blue links and an AI summary. Of those, still a majority of those do not end up at about 60%, don't end up actually clicking one of the links at all. They just use the summary as enough of their research to click
Mm.
through. So the middleman is 100% now being established between us and our consumer, and that's the AI chatbots, right? So the internet, I keep saying this, I'm going to say it again on your place, that the internet is no longer a place of search, it's a place of conversations. And people really used to go to the internet to search for listings, for rates, for prices, for loan officers, for people. And now they go there to have a conversation. And it's a completely different strategy when your consumers going to the internet for a conversation than they are for searching for things. Okay. And it's also important that we say that, like, okay, now where's the trust lie? 73% of consumers trust AI recommendations as much as they trust personal referrals.
Wow.
That
Let
sink
that
in?
sink in, guys. Wait, let's just have a moment of silence. Say that one more time, and then just,
73% of consumers trust AI recommendations as much as they trust a personal referral.
by the way, everybody, do you believe that? Like, do you believe that? I
And is there a difference between age groups on that?
Well, I'm sorry, I didn't hear you, Deborah. What was that?
Is there a difference between the different demographics, like different like boomers versus Gen X versus Gen Z?
There is, but most importantly with that, we got to skate where the puck is going.
Uh-huh.
You know what I'm saying? And yeah, there is for sure. But what you're seeing is that people are chatting with their AI all day long. And on ChatGPT alone, more than 70% of interactions are not business related. Okay. So we think of like ChatGPT as like this business tool we're using. More than 70% of all interactions on ChatGPT are not business related.
So
They're
then what
personal.
are they're
They're
just,
personal things. Like if you're a consumer, I'm not talking about work, I'm talking about buying a house. And I'm like, how do I buy a house? And
oh,
what am I
got
doing?
it.
Like it's personal stuff, right? Personal research, personal shopping assistant, like planning vacations, looking up information. How do I fix this thing in my house? So it's a big, it's becoming their trusted assistant. Dave, that's why I showed you that tool that I built yesterday, because I want to figure out how I can use their personal
Well,
AI assistant
we're
to
gonna
help
talk
me.
about that in a few minutes.
All
So,
right, okay. Yeah,
hey,
like that, that's
okay,
why.
so let me summarize some of the. By the way, awesome conversation taking place in chat. Keep it coming, guys. But we do have someone that said no. I don't believe it. I think people will trust a person, and in my mind, I think first of all, there are some people. Like you take 20 people that there's going to be like the most trusted, authoritative person. And then as you go 20 down, there's like, and it also depends on what it's about. Like there's certain people that I'm going to really trust and respect them on something business related and not something personal. But I'll trust them at one thing. But here's where I think we all need to align is AI is used and it is trusted and it can be turned into your best friend, your best assistant, your best top of the funnel opportunity. And it can also be like nothing to you. And it can even have a negative impact on your career if you don't play the game the right way. Um,
Dave, I would like to cash all these things. Like, I'm not saying any of these stats as if I hope they're true or I don't hope they're true or they're good or bad. I'm just living in a world where I'm trying to assess things as a role of the observer and not like I'm participating and hoping it is any one thing because I want to like receive this in an honest way, you know? And so I just so you know, I'm not saying I hope people start trusting AIs, but the difference is when I go to ask Dave, well, I don't want to use Dave because I probably trust your opinion, Dave, but if I ask one of my other buddies, like, hey, who do you recommend for this? They're going to give me the recommendation from their personal experience and their own perspective. If I ask AI, AI knows me, likes me, like we've been in conversation with it, so the suggestion from AI is actually personalized for me. And those are two different things that just kind of happens. If I ask, hey, what do you love for dinner? I'm getting like they might love tomatoes and I might hate tomatoes, right? But AI knows if I like tomatoes or not, so it's going to give me a suggestion that's good for me. And
well,
so it's just a different
and
thing.
AI is pulling from a broader, bigger data set. Like that person could not possibly have the data set of
Yeah,
any of the large language models. So it's going to pull from
yeah,
their data
yeah.
set, their experiences. And at the end of the day, guys, we're going to use both. We're going to be like if I want to know something, I'm going to ask a trusted friend, noted, and I'm going to ask AI, and then I'm going to formulate my own narrative and my own perspective. But it's here.
That's what I feel like they trust but verify. Like even if you're given three names, how many people are now going to social and to AI to do that verification process? Like, can I trust this person? And then Eric, correct me if I'm wrong, isn't it getting to a place where the AI will learn you so well and know just like even when you're traveling what types of hotels you like to stay in or your vehicle types or your food like and so the outputs are only going to become better and better and more tailored and customized to what it's learning that you like or dislike, right?
Yeah, there's actually two things happening simultaneously. One is, so just to be clear, like when ChatGPT says it has infinite memory, it's learning everything, it actually doesn't. It's really good at fooling us into these things, and we can talk about the technical side behind that. But there is that part of it for sure. But the other part about it, like when ChatGPT 3.5 came out, let's talk about the intelligence of it. The size of what it knew was basically 175 billion parameters. Okay, just to give you a perspective, it's about 175 billion parameters. Now the latest models are between 3 and 5 trillion parameters. Okay. So we're talking about it's not when models get smarter, it's not because they get smarter, it's because they get larger, so they have more access to more data and able to give it more novel responses and thoughtful responses because of that, right? So like 175 billion to 5 trillion is hard for us to even fathom how much more. So there's two things are happening simultaneously. What happened here?
I put it so just a little
Just
less
a
than
little
5
less than
grand.
Dev's
Just
parameters. Yeah, yeah,
a
yeah.
little less.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's like, so the size of these models are so huge, so they're able to give better and better suggestions, recommendations, just simply because they can filter through much more data in a different way than we can.
All right, guys. So we just finished first quarter of this game. We're in the middle of the second quarter. I really want to get tactical around the headlines. We talked about, hey, how are top producers using AI to win more business? So we're gonna flip to that. I'm gonna mention Eric's book a couple times,
Oh,
but
cool.
he's got a manifesto. If you go to ericpost.ai, it's free, everybody. And I am telling you, this thing is gold. Like it is just gold.
Thank
You've
you.
got to go here. You've got to read this. It's called The Empty Room. Um, First of all, it's just really well written. It's got like 10 lessons in it. You could read it. I mean, first of all, speed readers could read it in 5 minutes. Anybody could read it in 15-ish minutes. I took an hour because it was just so like, wow, like let's think
Good.
about
Thank you.
that. And everybody that I've referred this manifesto and book to is just like, oh my God, like that enhanced my perspective on AI and how I'm going to use AI. So I do want to make sure that, while we have the full audience, guys, it's free. It's 15 minutes, no more than an hour. So it's not a lot of consumption, and I just can't recommend it enough. So got a link. If you're watching this on YouTube, there'll be a link down below. Housing.link will be the one link, and anything we mentioned during this call, it will be in that housing.link experience. All right. So, Eric, when we think of how are top producers improving productivity, let's just, between the three of us, create a list of tactics and strategies and give us a couple. And then, Deb, you give a couple, I'll give a couple. And audience, feel free to throw your hat in the ring in chat.
I'll start with just planting a seed here, and then we can take where it goes from there. But I've noticed both in the loan officers that we're working with and interacting and networking with some amazing people. It's directly result of some of what you've been connecting me with, Dave. So thank you for that. But one thing I've noticed is that there's a shift that's happening. So when everybody was saying like, how can I use AI? How can I use AI? How can I use AI? Now the thoughtful leaders are transitioning to how can I make sure all of my people are using AI in the right way? How am I not the only one that's being the expert here? How am I using AI, or how is AI being used on my business on my behalf by people that are powered by AI? So they're thinking exponentially about diffusing their AI knowledge, their expertise, their thought processes, their processes, and everybody around them because it's really hard to do it alone. And especially if you're a leader of your organization or of your team, if your AI fluency is here and everybody else is here, you got a huge gap you got to close. It's really you got to bring people like really closely with you along. So I've noticed that being a big shift is stop like playing with all the tools, stop trying to learn everything, advance everything, and start bringing people with you. And that's what the top killers are doing.
Deborah, anything you want to add to that?
Just to echo onto that, I have seen automations and workflows from not only branch leaders but also team leads on any meetings they have. Everything's recorded, and there's AI note sheets that go out after the fact. And that can be really helpful for those who aren't at the meeting, so it gets everybody on the bus at the same time. But almost like a personal AI assistant that they've created for each person that also helps with booking appointments or connecting their Calendly, putting notes in their CRM. So that's just from an administrative level, which I think sometimes if we had to quantify the amount of time we spend on just admin tasks that could be automated, that in itself is a huge time saver. So then you can reinvest that time to go deeper with clients and be the most human version of you and not the AI doing that part.
All right. So, guys, on the list is, are you transcribing your Zoom meetings in your meetings, and are you using AI to turn those into actionable notes? And two ideas I'm going to put on top of that. I'm talking to loan officers that are using those notes, and I think it's pretty standard. Like, hey, give me, what were the takeaways from this meeting, and what were the to-dos or promises that either party made? I mean, I think like everybody's doing that. Now, not everybody is like, hey, what are some quotes in this conversation that could be social media memes? And
Mhm.
was there any content or stories in this conversation that could help me create some social media content? Like, not everybody is transcribing for not only making the meeting actionable, but to turn it into social media that Deborah Byrd can help you create distribution. Not everybody's doing that. And then everybody's also not using it as a coach, to say something like, hey, review this transcript, um, use the principles and philosophies from the book Challenger Sale, because I think that's a really good sales practice, and review the conversation and let me know whether there's anything I could have done better or been more effective at one, helping the customer, and two, being a more effective loan officer.
That last piece, Dave, I was going to add that piece. Like that's the thing. That's the also the other separator. So level one of that is just like, hey, what are my tasks? What I have to do is like write a follow up. Level two is what you mentioned with social media, and turning it in and you're amplifying. Level three is how do I get better as a result of every interaction. And so we talk about OODA loops a lot, right? You got to observe and you got to take in that data, you got to make a new decision. And so when you get a transcript, what a great data set to learn from. Did I answer all their questions fully and completely? Were there any moments then there where a sentiment might have lowered a little bit? Were there any moments where they seemed to be more stressed than others? Like AI is actually really good at understanding sentiment if you frame it that way because words hold power of emotion, right? So if you
Mhm.
give a direction, you can look through some opportunities like that. So that's level three, Dave. That was great, man.
And
And
I,
I will often ask it, like, don't tell me what I want to hear. Like, tell me now, debate with me. Like, what are my blind spots? What is the data not revealed that I could be overlooking? Like, I'm constantly trying to poke holes in my own stories that I could be, guiding the platform and chat, especially sometimes will, can be very positive and tell you what you want to
It's
hear.
like, that's a great idea, Deborah. Let's
I'm
do
like,
this.
thank
Yeah,
you.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So just
Really.
asking it, like, how could I be looking at this from a different angle? Like, what could I be missing is very
Yeah.
helpful. Like, it reveals so much. So the speed to growth, even just from a self-awareness standpoint, especially for those who use it for personal use, like it's fantastic.
One of the most dangerous parts of consumer facing AI, you got to remember, like, you know how social media makes money the longer you spend scrolling, right? They make more money then they get more embedded the longer you spend chatting with it. They collect more data the more you spend chatting with it. So it's not going to try and piss you off on purpose. It's going to try and make you feel like the best human, smartest business person ever to keep you there chatting, right? And learning more and having conversations. So it's very intentional, just so you know. Yeah.
so I want you guys to almost think about this with everything that there's like, oh, I'm doing it. Like, oh, I'm transcribing calls and I'm using it for more actual meeting notes. Level one, there's always a second level, using it to help create social media content, using it to be a sales training solution. And I'll bet you there's more levels in which you could use those transcripts beyond what we just said. If you're doing that, let us know in chat. But for every strategy, there's multiple levels, and that's the differentiator. What's another thing that top producers are doing with AI, Eric? And then Deborah, be ready to throw your hat in the ring.
They're realizing they can't scale chaos, right? And so using AI to align, their digital assets, their database, their systems, they're assessing their resources, their skills, their knowledge and whatnot, and they're realizing, oh, if I don't have a documented, digital plan for marketing and outreach and social, I'm just kind of doing it's really helping them align and realizing that like just adding more automation on top of a chaotic system is just going to create chaos. So it's actually helping people fundamentally be more sound in their business practices from the very beginning, documenting things in SOPs, putting them in repeatable processes, because you can't create an AI-powered workflow unless you've documented what it is. Like what's the start and the end of this process you're trying to come up with, right? So you just can't start zapping things around and creating GPTs and all that stuff unless it's all aligned to one thing. So I find out fundamentally for the ones that are looking at it right, that's a great like side benefit is fundamental business practices are being like implemented and installed as a result of having AI help them do that. Because it was just too hard before. It took too much time or people and nobody on this call has a problem with coming up with new ideas. Right? Everybody here is like there's a problem with implementation and execution, I bet. Is just a guess, right? The industry does not have an idea problem. We have an implementation problem, right? So how can you use AI then to stop and filter out all these ideas and then start focusing on just the execution?
So,
Love
Eric,
that.
anything on that with the speed of change with all the AI, like it can be really hard to create these SOPs, and then there's a new tool that's now free and it is better than this one. Like, how do you also protect your team from being too distracted?
Jeff Bezos changed my opinion like about 18 months ago, when I saw a little quote from him, and he basically said that if you try and solve problems with new technology, you say, "Oh, we got this new technology, what can I do with it?" You're going to be forever chasing. You're going to be forever chasing. But he says, "I have this problem here that's probably a durable problem that's going to be here in a year or 5 years and 10 years from now. Let's figure out how to solve that problem with AI." So it's an inversion. Like most people are saying, "Oh, I got this new technology, what can I do with it?" Versus I have this durable problem that's going to exist in the next 10 years. How do I solve that problem with what's available to me? And when you solve the problem, you don't have to be chasing the new thing all the time because it's solved in a way. Do you need to iterate and update? 100%. But the fundamental like how you pick a tool
Mm.
changes when you look at it from like, oh, I pick a tool because it can do a thing. I'm sold by this great sales guy or the website or the demo I just saw or the guy on stage or girls, and so it's like, no, I have a durable problem. Let's work on that first.
Do
But by
you,
the way,
oh,
that's a,
go
oh,
ahead.
well,
Go
I
ahead.
do want, I'll say something in your turn, Deborah, but what he just said, guys, is what the best consultants and the best technologists, this is how they think. They don't look at a tech and go, now let me build my sales process and figure out how I can use that tech. They build the experience,
Hmm.
the problems they want to solve, the experience they want to create for the consumer. And now let me go find the technology that will help me
Correct.
solve these problems and create this experience. So, guys, that's the difference between good and great. Companies, leaders, whether you're a loan officer, whether you're a head of marketing, like I always find that the greats, they they figure out what they want to do before they go pick technology. So, really good point. Deborah, would you want to say to that?
I just lost it.
No.
Come
Oh,
on,
oh no, I
Deborah. I'm
got
sure
it.
it was gold. Come on. I want to
No,
hear it now more than ever.
I well, it kind of goes back to what you said in the first quarter of the call of I feel like it's no longer a lack of information for consumers. They almost have too much information at their fingertips that the value of the advisor as the mortgage coach is helping them then unpack the question that is renting space in their head of, but how do I know what's the best decision for me?
Oh,
Like
Deborah,
in
this is
my
the biggest thing.
situation.
This is the big, when I kind of made a like, little funny joke about information obesity, it's literally the thing. So we have, this is what was the fundamental point of my book, Dave, of the manifesto, was realizing that we have to shift from being a knowledge worker because knowledge is the commodity now. So if your consumers have come to you for the last 10 years and said, I always go to Deborah because she knows the most about FHA loans, 1031 exchanges, new construction, whatever that thing is, that is now the baseline. So what the emotion that Deborah needs to give now is not, oh my gosh, I know the most about this thing, is like Deborah gets us. She understands us. She sees us. She hears us. She knows what we are trying to accomplish, and she's my strategic guide through this process, not because she knows the most, but because she knows us the best.
Yes.
That is the transition that we have to get to from this knowledge worker to the wisdom strategist because everybody now has all the knowledge. All your competition, everybody does, right? So in their pocket. So it's very, very critical to just this little pivot, knowledge
Mhm.
worker to wisdom worker.
And
And
case
I don't
studies
want
are
to add
great
on.
for this, like showing your case studies and having AI help you create, the story, the brand story behind every single application, every single closing is a story. And when people can latch onto that, they think, oh, you've helped someone like me and you've helped someone like me recently.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
What you said, wisdom, what? Um,
I call it wisdom worker,
okay, no,
and
I like
so
that. I put the word personal, become a personal wisdom worker. And that brings up a point. Again, the billing of today's call is what are top producers doing with
that's
AI
right.
to do more loans? And and by the way, you can just write that. They're becoming personal wisdom workers consistently and at scale. I mean, that's one of the reasons why when we put an AI bot into the Mortgage Coach total cost analysis, it's literally been the most widely adopted valuable thing we've added because now we've turned the borrower experience into an AI, you know, like you consumer can interact it with AI. The loan officer knows what they're saying. And now they can be a better, they could do a better job of taking the goals, the assumptions, what that customer wants to do, what questions they're asking AI, and they can be a better I don't like the word worker. I'm going to go with
Yeah.
personalized, personal wisdom advisor
Strategist, advisor.
or
Yeah.
guide or mentor or friend. But I love the bullseye there, Eric.
It's really the crux of what the consumer needs. What I found, especially in launching this company and in the space we work with loan officers, and now in the world today, if you can clearly define the problem better than your consumer can, you've shaped reality for them. And if you've clearly defined the problem better than they could, they naturally assume you have the solution. And those that like shape reality for the consumer automatically control the demand for the solution. Right? So it's a way to pierce through the noise is to be able to clearly define the problem better your consumer can. And when you do that, they go, oh, they naturally get me, and there's no sales process done because they already assume you have the solution because you're the expert, the in this space, and you said it better than they could. So it's really like being able to synthesize down this and using your expertise. You've had 100 people that have got a loan from you around this one thing. You know the common thread. Find that common thread, and that's now your marketing message, right?
Yeah,
It's not no, I know most about, FHA loans because I've done 100 of them. You got to find what that common thread is, that common problem, codify that into a single sentence, and that becomes your calling, man. And they'll just flock to you for that.
yeah. It's come up in a number of conversations with what I would say are some of the most elite loan officers that are using AI the most advanced ways. And I'm hearing from them that they actually have more time to prospect and sell. So the things, they're using AI to do all these things that can be automated that are distracting to them, that are busyness for them. And now they actually are like adding an hour or 2 hours a day to their genius zone time where they're having more conversations, they're having better conversations. Any comments or thoughts around that, Eric?
No, I mean, Dino, Mortgage Gorilla, these are all guys I've been talking to about these sorts of things. And so the temptation to use AI to make things more efficient behind the scenes is should be there, but that's no longer an advantage. That is the standard. That's the status quo. You got to be efficient and operate, with as low of OpEx as you can and whatnot. But that's not what the consumers pay you for. They don't pay you for that. They pay you for the more memorable, consistent experience on the front end, right? So the people that are doing that, remember that operational efficiency is important, but it's still a zero-sum game. The zero-sum game because you can only get it to instant and you can only get it to almost free, every one of your processes, right? So it's still a zero-sum game. But on the other side of that, exponentially thinking about how do I, instead of how fast can I do this for a customer, is how long can I keep them in delight, right? How many moments of surprise can I give them? How many memories can I create throughout this transaction? That's the exponential way of thinking about the use of AI, not just the zero-sum game of being operationally efficient. Right. So these people are like really focused on how do I like get this operational efficiency, but if I turn a 1 hour thing into a 10-minute thing, how am I going to upskill my time in this next 50 minutes? So I'm now using AI to create these personal moments of delight. And that is the way to scale it. So it's not like writing one piece of content now 10 minutes and you're done. No, write 20 personalized piece of content and send personalized with personalized notes or a little bomb video or something like that in the same amount of time. And I've done from 1 to 10, right? And that's how they're thinking about growing. It's not just the operational efficiency. It's not just how fast can we do something, but how many moments of delight can we create? And that's how people are really transforming their business.
I want everybody to write down the word branded moments. I was recently at a sales rally, a very large lender, and they actually, how many loans they had done, how many total customers they had annually, and how many branded moments did they have, and it was in the millions. And so they're thinking about branded moments, and then when you think of those branded moments, think about I call it wow, where you surpass the expectations of the consumer in a positive way. Uh, those moments of delight. And so I want everybody to start thinking about branded moments. And then when you think of the mortgage coach experience, like the competitor to that is the fee worksheet. Is that a great branded moment that gets the consumer to say, wow? Whereas when you deliver the total cost analysis, like they're like, wow, this person has my best interest in mind. They're showing me options. They're giving me transparency. Wow, this person is giving me advice and making it clear. So think of one, how many branded moments you have, and then start thinking about of those branded moments, how can you make them better? How can you make them a bigger wow to the consumer, and how can you make them more efficient? Um, all
I
right,
just thought of one, Dave.
boom, bring it.
As like a closing gift, let's say you're helping a family buy either they're moving up or maybe it's their first home, but you could literally publish or write a book that involves the family's names, the kids' names with their characters, and you make that your closing gift with the front cover being the house that they just and it like looks just like the house. Would that be
There we
cool?
are. I can't even tell you how vibing we are right now.
Are we
So
vibing?
the other day, yeah, I don't know. I don't know why made me say that word, but I actually created an entire workflow around that a couple of weeks ago, around that one specific concept about how do you take all of your notes from the transaction, all your Zoom meetings, and I ran it through a couple of frameworks like storytelling frameworks, like so in storytelling, there's basically five different hero arcs and whatnot. So turned it through these hero arcs and created a version of it. Like I haven't done it yet, so I'm not like, but if somebody wants to work with me on that, I think that'd be an amazing experience to be able to turn out at the closing table to give something like that. They
And
would
it
be
would be
wicked.
spelled correctly. So it's good for us, Dave. We could
Yeah.
leverage it.
So if anybody wants to follow up with Deborah and or Eric
Yeah,
and
start with Deborah because
workshop
she's
that,
better. Yeah,
that's
she's good.
a cool idea. Um, Deborah, we're getting close to the fourth quarter. Is there any specific idea, before we get back to Eric with, okay, what are top producers doing to do more loans? Anything you want to throw out
Is there
with
anything
AI?
you've seen, Eric, or you, Dave, too, from like, let's say we've now saved these top producers time. I still see some who struggle with the outbound or the reaching out to partners and acquiring the right partnership. So, is there anything that you see in our workflows that you've created? And I know you work with a lot of real estate agents too. So, any insight to help those who are listening that are like, okay, I'm ready to now reinvest my time, not sleep on that time, but reinvest it. How do I go get the whales?
Yeah. So the reason why I have that feeling and don't know what to do, because they don't know exactly, excuse my language, exactly what fucking problem they're solving and exactly who they are and exactly who they're trying to solve it for. That's the only reason why. It's not because they don't know how to outreach, they don't know how to pick up the phone, they don't know how to send an AI generated. It's because they don't have that what we call Satori, like that moment of aha, clarity, epiphany, like so freaking crystal clear on that, that of course you're gonna not know what to spend the time on. Right. So we go through a process it's the 4 A's. Okay. And we go through a process with them to help give that clarity because without that, it's going to be really hard. I can give you the tactics, Deb, but I'm just telling you, of course, you're going to have that feeling because you haven't assessed everything, aligned everything, anchored everything in best practices and how you actually repeat them and then amplify. People just go right to how do I amplify? Right. And they're trying to scale chaos. They're trying to scale a non-coherent message. Right. And people are still thinking of content pillars. And now we need to think about in like what's happening from the transition of SEO and social media to AEO and GEO. You gotta start aligning messages different now. And it's unfortunate that I can't even believe I'm saying this out loud, but not only are we writing content for people, we got to write content for AI too, to be found and seen and source you in these searches, especially when we talk about the trends at the top of the hour. So it's that clarity first. Once you're there, then the next part is easy. The next part is wildly easy because you can use an AI to sort through all your data. You can take all the realtors in your in your whole marketplace, give it to your AI, have it find this exact ICP with this exact message, craft 10 personalized messages, invite them to whatever you're trying to invite them. That part's easy. That can be done in an hour. But it's that clarity, I think that's what really trips people up because they want to be everything to everybody. And unless you have an opinion about what's happening in your marketplace or opinion about the data, people don't want the data, they want your opinion. And unfortunately, you got to be willing to like make some people mad because if you don't make anybody mad with the opinion, you haven't given an opinion, right? You're just giving data. Like people have to have people say, yes, I agree or I disagree with you in some sort of way. And most importantly, what I love about the Challenger sale, Dave, it's not just do I agree or disagree. It's like, oh my gosh, I've never thought about it that way before. Deborah, like tell me more. That's really what you're trying to get to with all these outbound messages. Is in
And can I
the
just say, even with that on social, because we are seeing now there's too much supply versus demand. It and everyone can create a post pretty easily. So it either is adding to the noise or you have to have that unique lens or perspective so that you're memorable. Because I'm sure everyone who's even listening right now, you may have been scrolling this morning on social. You may have even liked or commented on a post, which is also that behavior metric is going down per the amount of content being created. So even the person's post that you liked this morning, can you tell me their name? Because our memory, like we just don't have capacity to remember. So are you creating memorable content that's true around your unique perspective? That's how you own the mind share before, during, and after the borrower experience is you have to be consistent, but you have to be consistently creating that valuable piece that is a blend of the strategist, the storytelling, the expert, so that you hit that show me that you know me button and people are like, that's my person. But you'll be forgotten about. No matter how great the transaction was, 90 days later, if you're not consistently in front of them and engaging with them, they'll be like, what was that person? What they were so great. What was their name? And then the servicer ends up replacing you.
Mhm.
Yeah,
You know, it's
I
it's it's a lot easier to be forgotten on Instagram than it is if like the mortgage girl, like you said, hey, rented out a nail salon, has all his referral partners and they all got their nails done together and spent an hour together. It's a lot harder to forget that than it is a social media post.
Right.
So part
so
of the
I've
book
got
was all about the analog renaissance of this whole thing.
I've got an answer to your question, Deborah, and then be ready, Eric. I'm going to come to you, and it might be your last idea. So I don't know. We're in the fourth quarter, so if you have whatever your best next idea, have it ready, and you
Okay.
might get two, but be
Okay.
ready for whatever your next best idea is. But one thing I know a lot of top producers are doing, and by the way, what I'm going to share is something that has also helped me do more prospecting, whether it's communicating on social media, comments. Let's face it, in this modern world, commenting in an intelligent, quality way is a form of prospecting. Sending text is a form of prospecting, and sending emails is a form of prospecting, along with calling. But a big boost for me, and also I know a lot of top producers are using Whisper Flow. I just put a link in chat to get a free month. And I would tell you, for me personally, of all the things that like new tools that I logged in, new things, like that has really boosted the quality of my communication because it's voice to text. It's using AI to make that voice to text more accurate. And whether I'm commenting on a social media post, whether I'm sending an email or a text, like I'm doing it more and it's higher quality. And so that's one thing. So check that out. Also, audience, I'm going to ask Eric for like what is the best thing he's doing using AI to do more business for loan officers. If you have an idea, whether it's been mentioned already or it's just like, what's your best idea? Put it in chat. Like, and if you're watching this on YouTube, put it in comments down below. Like, what is the best way you're using AI to do more business right now? So, Eric, what you got?
Um, you really put me on a spot here. I think that the lesson that I've really looked at, if I'm looking at all the different loan officers, the biggest lesson is that they're no longer doing it themselves. That everybody around them, so the referral partners, like they're actually collaborating with their referral partners to be seen visibly together in AEO and GEO. Like, so it's really hard to do any one of these things, by yourselves. And so they're actually collaborating with their loan officers, referral partners, title reps, everybody in their ecosystem to have a sort of collaborative approach to how they're going to communicate online together because you can actually game the system a lot easier if you're referencing each other, you're clustering your authority content together. So if Deborah writes something about FHA loans, then I write something about FHA loans and I cite her and she cites me. It's a completely different experience if you're just trying to do all this stuff yourself. So collaborating and bringing other people in with you is what I think is going to just be an exponential gain, not just in your reputation with them, because you're establishing that thought leadership with them, but also just the natural like passing on of value to them. If they start getting more business as a result of your streamlined effort, because you see it more clearly than them, that is the game for 2026 is collaboration over siloing yourself.
So I have a question for you. Have you seen, are there different mediums, whether it's chat or Gemini or Perplexity? Like, what are the top two or three that you feel our consumers would be interacting with the most during their home buying process? Is there any data to point?
Yeah, for
Okay,
sure. So currently for consumer traffic, it is chat. Gemini is like really like it's not just taking off in the enterprise game, it's taking off in the consumer game. That it's out actually outpacing the number of Gemini app downloads is outpacing the speed at which ChatGPT ever was downloaded currently.
Wow.
Claude, surprisingly, same thing. They're actually picking up market share faster than anybody else has over the last 6 months, not just in the coding world or for APIs and behind the scenes, but also consumer facing with the launch of Claude Skills and co-work and whatnot.
yeah,
So like
co-work is
the gap is closing. As a matter of fact, most people are ranking chat third in the quality of the chat outputs beneath
really,
those two. Yeah, currently in their current iterations and with no hope of them even catching up is what most people are saying, right?
huh?
Yeah. So,
So
but
would your
those
is your angle any different, say, if you do the collaboration piece, like you said, and a lender and realtor want to,
Yes.
how would you approach things differently now, given what you just said? Like, what are your one, two, three things you must do consistently to get that visibility or ranking on Gemini or
Yes. So for instance, so like I just built a piece of software called Halo. We're getting ready to launch next week on this that does this exact thing because I couldn't find the ability to do this. Like you could figure it out sort of manually because what you have to do, you have to figure out what the AIs are saying. You have to figure out what sites their sources citing. Then you have to figure out what your competitors are talking about. And you have to figure out what your competitors are being talked at in order to game the system. You have to have all that information.
Mhm.
So I built a piece of software that tracks that across all five AIs every single day, collaborates that, and then gives you the
Can you
strategy and
demo
writes
it?
the content
Can
for
you
you.
share your screen and demo it real quick?
And can
Let me
you
see
put a
if I have
link
it
so
up
we can
here.
sign up?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
don't. I haven't. I've been using it behind the scenes for a month now, getting ready for launch. And yeah,
Yeah.
I can. I
So
can.
it's pretty slick, guys. I got a little bit of a bro demo the other day and I was like, wowed. So we'll put a link.
Yeah. I just have a little demo account up, but you can see here. So if you can see if we're tracking a set of prompts and we build the prompts and we build your conversations to be focusing on based on those three tiers I was talking about, the life changes that happen, the friction points that happen, and then the decision making process. Everybody's focused on how do I be like served up when they say, give me the top five loan officers, but that's not what people are doing. They're saying, "Oh, I'm thinking about buying a house, and as a result of that, do I have to have 800 credit score or whatever?" They're working their way up. So you have to figure out what those pillars are, and then
Mhm.
what we do is literally like track it every single day. Like we pull the generation, we tell the citations, mention like who's mentioned, as a result of it, and then every single day it'll pull up, and we have a competitive landscape, so you can see how you're ranking, and then there's a full content studio. So you can say, "Oh, I'm worried about this conversation. I need to write an article." And then Who's will actually write the article that's specifically built around best practices for AEO, GEO citations and crawlable by AIs. So we're trying to take like the monitoring process, the figuring out the process, and then the content creation all in one complete product here, which is
Wow,
pretty cool.
Pretty slick,
that's
huh, Deborah?
awesome.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
was I was like, I can't wait to get that. And the thing I've always loved about Whoosy guys is that it is it's using other like large language. So whether you want to use Gemini, Chat, all of them are built into Whoosy, and then they know which ones are more effective at different requests, like who makes images better, and that's the AI they use in Whoosy. So be
And
sure
and
to check it out, guys.
Dave, I want to tell you this too. I'm actually building it as a partnership tool. So we're able to white label this for organizations or team leaders. So you can bring in your agent partners or referral partners, and you can actually have a software tool that helps you do the thing, not just talk about the thing, right? So
Dude, Eric, I was just working with someone on trying to build something very similar to that. So I'm like, scratch. I love that you have it. So we need to
yeah,
talk.
we
That's
we working
great.
behind the scenes. Yeah,
Yeah,
pretty cool.
Yeah,
fantastic.
yeah. And if anybody wants to, if you haven't already signed up for Whoosy, here is a link. It's my affiliate link, and again, it's an amazing platform. I use lots of different AI solutions daily, and Whoosy is definitely in the rotation on a weekly basis.
Thank you, Dave. Thank you.
Yeah, well, no, thank you, brother. So we are in the final 5 minutes. Deborah, I'm going to save you for the win by noon close. So, so, so you've got an entire group of loan officers. We still have a pretty big audience live watching this. We're going to have hundreds that listen to the recording. Um, I really want, if there was one takeaway from the book that you read, the manifesto, I almost want to have you give a tease. Like if there was one, you know, a chapter, a lesson that you think is a good close to today's call, but it is a little bit of a sneak peek of that manifesto that we hope everybody reads, what would that be, Eric? Did you hear that?
I heard you,
You're thinking?
Deborah.
Oh no, he said I'm preparing taking action
Oh,
notes.
I thought you were
Oh,
asking
this is
Deborah.
you. This question's for you, bro.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay. Ask it again. Sorry.
Deborah.
We're all confused.
Yeah. Let's ask it again.
I'll, what he asked was, did you read the manifesto, by the way, Deborah?
Yours?
Yeah, yeah.
I
Did you
haven't
read it?
yet.
Okay. Well, I'll just answer for you then.
Okay.
Uh, the entire premise is around fundamentally getting away from the cliche thing that um, we're going to be replaced by a AI powered competitor and whatnot. I'm telling you, Zillow, Rocket Mortgage, none of these guys are as big of a threat as the AI powered consumer that doesn't need your advice until way later than they used to. And so it's like literally, how do you not just create this efficient, experience for them? How do you create these moments, and realize that they are craving you like more than ever, but they're not craving the mediocre old experience. They really need the new wisdom worker strategist. And that's at the fundamental of all of this. If we're losing sight of that, then we're going to lose the customer. And we're going to lose them to the big guys that just have an efficient experience. And they can be more efficient and effective than we can in that way. They've got more data than the individual loan officer. They got more money than the individual loan officer. They got more systems than the individual officer, more resources. But they do not have that sort of individual human expertise that you can connect with people. They need you for that.
Can you
So
scale that?
I think we used to be able to have to choose between personalization and scale,
Mm,
and now we don't have to. You can actually
mm.
personalize at scale now. Yeah, in a
Yeah.
thoughtful way. We don't have to choose between those two anymore, which is
And
cool.
and this is, I think this is actually, I have a whole series of Evernotes on this, but the actual quote Eric has is we shouldn't be using technology to distance ourselves from the human experience. We should be using it to deepen our relationships. The goal shouldn't be efficiency at scale. It must be personalization at scale. So, so guys, anyways, read it, make notes. I promise it'll be worth your time. Deborah, bring us home with a win by noon close.
Okay, so from Q1, I have as a action point, ask yourself, where are my clients having decision conversations before they talk to me? Because something that Eric mentioned was they're no longer using it for search. This is where conversations start. And then the other question to that is, what questions are they trying to answer without you? And then I would do a quick audit as like your homework assignment number two of what are the trust builders and what are the trust breakers? Like auditing whatever is going out from you, your output, is it helping or hurting?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And then I really liked, I put for number three, like a big star, the new role, kind of the new identity shift is that personal wisdom strategist, not the knowledge broker. So, what decisions do you help people make? Like, what are the pre decisions that they need help with before they know and are aware of the next phase that may lead to you? But you've got to get to them before they even know that the problem exists? What trade-offs do you help them understand? Are you showing them the cost over time so they can really feel like they're making the best decision for them, assessing all options, and they can own the decision? And then the mistakes that you help them avoid.
Deb,
So,
I love that, Deb. If maybe adding one more check mark, is this for me or for them? If you just give yourself that little thing, am I doing this for me? Am I trying to get something out of this? Or am I trying to give something to them out of this? And who am I trying to give it to? That little final little check, that little honesty gut check is really powerful to reframe what you're actually
I
posting or
love
talking
that.
about or outreaching. Who's this for? Me or them? Just be real honest about it. If it's for you, double check your work, right?
All
Because they
right.
can tell.
So,
You can't disguise it.
so everybody, first of all, thank you for joining us. I hope you got value from today. If you have not followed the Mortgage Coach YouTube channel, subscribe today. Also, every single Tuesday at 8 o'clock Pacific, I am issuing a newsletter in LinkedIn. It's called the Modern Mortgage Leadership Newsletter. So if you're not subscribing to it, go to LinkedIn, subscribe. I'm taking content from all these weekly interviews, and then I'm putting them into playbooks. So think about that if you're a loan officer, think of me as your sales manager every week, giving you ideas and suggestions. If you are a manager, guys, I am like teeing up and spoon feeding you a sales meeting in a box for the week. So reference that. So check out LinkedIn every morning, 8 o'clock. And then remember, every Tuesday at 9, I'm interviewing someone amazing. Every Friday at 9, we're having a mastermind like this. And if you are not following Deborah Byrd on social media, make sure you follow her. If you want to amplify and improve the value you're creating for the marketplace and the value you're getting from the marketplace on social media, no one better than Deborah Byrd for that. And then again, Eric, if you're not following this guy on social media, he's creating value. He's doing podcasts. So there's a lot of free value. And then, of course, his platform, Who's the AI, just keeps getting better and more valuable. And you guys just saw a new product that's going to be within that Who's. By the way, is that like you have to be a Who's member and then this is an upgrade? Or is this like a separate product that people can buy standalone?
It's a separate product, and we just rolled out Project Satori, which is a consulting product. So we do basically, it costs 5 grand, and we come into your business and we reorganize everything. And we go through those 4 A's with you and help install GPTs or workflows because people don't want to pay for more tools. They want to pay for shit done for them. So we recognize that we're leaning fully into that, right? So, our goal is to help them find 10 hours to reallocate every single week. And we work with you on how you reallocate those hours and then how do you upskill those hours. And then we help deploy processes and GPTs.
But
for
what
you.
about that product that you demoed?
Yeah.
How are you going to price it?
Yeah, so it will be for individuals, but we're rolling out. Dave, we're using it on behalf of our clients too. So like
Okay,
we set it
so
all up.
it's that
Yeah.
right
But
now
you can
it's a
definitely
consulting,
we'll sell it one on one, but
but
I
we're not
just
there yet.
not
Got it.
there, not for another couple weeks.
All right. Well, everybody, have a great weekend. Go Denver Broncos. It's a championship Sunday. Hopefully we pull off a W. Take care, everybody.
Bye, guys.